Hey guys, for those of you who don't know who I am Crystal. I am the owner I'm the owner of C. Michelle Coaching. The C stands for Crystal. Uh, I am a mindset and accountability coach for women over 40 who are using GLP-1 medications to lose weight. Um, what I do is I help them change their mindset, the way they view food and their relationship with food in order to optimize the time that they have on the GLP-1 medications, because the GLP-1 medications give you a little bit of respite from food noise, from thinking about food all the time, like you're not planning on what you're eating for dinner while you're in the middle of eating a cheeseburger in the afternoon. So what I do is I help people adjust their thinking so that when they're either done with the GLP-1, they have a better chance of keeping it off, or if they stay on that GLP-1 for the rest of their lives, they can maintain a healthy lifestyle. Because let's be honest, what works for people on a GLP-1 is also basically the same thing that's going to work for pretty much anybody who's trying to diet and exercise. So a little bit about me. I have been overweight to varying degrees for about 30 well I was for about 30 years. I was overweight to varying degrees, ever since I started having kids. When I was young, I was 21 when my first was born, and I gained 65 pounds with him, and I never lost it. And then I gained another 40 with my next one, and got gestational diabetes with my next one. So all total, I stopped weighing myself somewhere around, I would say, 240-ish pounds, but that was definitely not my biggest. If I had to guess, I'd say I was probably somewhere between 250 and 260 at my absolute heaviest. And that's very difficult for somebody who spent their entire life being, the skinny one and could eat pretty much whatever I wanted. And that ended, but I was still eating pretty much whatever I wanted. I've tried, over the years, I tried everything. I tried, just straight calorie restriction. I tried counting macros. I tried keto, but not like therapeutic keto, not the high fat keto. It was more lower fat, high protein, lower carbs. And on a lot of these different approaches, I lost weight, but none of it was ever sustainable for me. And actually, the first time I really came in contact with coaching, with like life coaching, was actually a weight loss coach, who I started following. And just from the free stuff that she had on her podcast, I was able to lose, I don't know, I think it was around 35, 40 pounds again. But I didn't continue on with it. I just kind of went off the rails and just went right back to my old habits. So obviously, I feel like the mindset change was helping me, but I don't think that I had ingrained it deeply enough to make it stick. So anyway, I ended up a few years ago diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I started taking metformin, took that for years. It did nothing, did absolutely nothing for me. Didn't help my numbers, nothing. On all kinds of blood pressure medications. I developed a heart condition. That just, the typical stuff. And I was morbidly obese. I would go shopping for clothes, and I would come out and I would be just crying every time. And it would be something so simple as to go buy like a pair of jeans or something, and I would come out crying. And this was just a cycle, that my poor husband had to be subjected to. But a few years ago, they started talking about, Ozempic and whatever. And I started taking Ozempic, and it just made me violently ill. I couldn't do it. I know a lot of people have fabulous success on that. So eventually I ended up taking Mounjaro, and I have lost right around 100 pounds, give or take. Like I said, depending on what my actual starting weight was, I'd say probably closer to 110 pounds maybe, but somewhere around 100 pounds. And I've been at this weight, I'm right around 148, 150, and I've been at this weight, give or take 5 pounds, for about a year. And it's funny because that initial life coaching experience that I had really kind of opened something in me, like, that just thought, I want to do that. I want to help people like that. And I initially took a certification course back in 2019. And at that time, my focus for coaching was different. It wasn't weight loss, because I was still dealing with all that on my own. But when I lost the weight, I decided to take a refresher of my life coaching course. And I did. And it feels like everything all just kind of came together. And, it was kind of like the universe was speaking to me saying, you know what, people on GLP-1s also need help. And, as time goes on, there are more and more people taking these and not having the guidance or the help that they need to make permanent change, rather than just using this as a quick fix. So that's why I got into coaching this specific area. I truly think that, the mindset shift is the key to living healthier, for making the most of these medications. Sure, some people can take these medications and still eat whatever they want, still do whatever they want, and still lose weight. But if, God forbid, something happens and they can't get the medications anymore, the chances are probably about 100% that they're going to go right back to where they started from. And I think the biggest mindset shift for me that has been helpful for me is I don't need to use food for entertainment. So if, say, my husband and I are going out for date night, it doesn't have to be out to dinner. Or if it does, or if we do go out to dinner, I don't have to eat every single thing on my plate. I don't have to order the biggest, yummiest thing. I don't have to have an appetizer and a meal and a dessert and cocktails and, what. I don't have to. That's not my, that's not my source of entertainment. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to introduce myself and actually just kind of get the very first video on here, get it done. It's funny, I don't have an issue with being on camera, speaking in public, anything like that. I actually have another YouTube channel, my personal one, that, years ago, back in 2020, I think there's like 30 or 40 videos on there of me just talking, on my way to work or whatever, about my thoughts about politics or the COVID epidemic at the time or whatever. So I don't have an issue with that, but I've been putting off making this video. And I'm not entirely sure why. So here we are. I will be doing more of these. They'll probably be a little bit more refined, but today it's absolutely beautiful. It's like 85 degrees outside here in Ohio, in northern Ohio. So, I couldn't sit inside. And I figured, what, today's a good day. Today's a good day to do this. So, anyway, just kind of wanted to introduce myself. I would love it if you would click like, subscribe. If you want to check out my website, it's cmichellecoaching.com, which it's the letter C and then Michelle, Michell, coaching.com. Just go check it out. If you have any feedback, please give it to me. If you have any feedback on this video, I'd love to hear it. And I would love to partner with you in your journey. So just keep an eye out on this channel for, some useful information. I plan on getting some good stuff out there for you guys. I'm not real sure what's going on right here. But yeah, so I'm going to get you guys some good information, and we'll see you soon.